You hear it everywhere, right? That artificial intelligence is this massive, game-changing opportunity. It's supposed to completely transform how we work, how we innovate, pretty much everything. But let's get real for a second. Beyond all that hype, what does AI actually mean for a small or medium-sized business just trying to get things done?
Well, let's try to put a number on it. Gartner researchers predicted that by 2021, AI would generate a staggering $2.9 trillion in business value. And that number isn't just about the tech giants in Silicon Valley. It's about businesses of all shapes and sizes getting smarter, faster, and way more efficient. And that right there is the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to hear about this massive potential, but it is a whole other challenge to figure out how you can actually bring that power into your own company to solve the real problems you're facing day in and day out. Because that's what this is all about at the end of the day, solving real business problems. You know, things like getting totally bogged down in manual order processing when your team could be out there selling, or trying to guess how much inventory you're going to need next quarter, or wanting to give your customers amazing 24/7 support without having to triple your staff. These are the exact pain points where AI is supposed to be a game changer. So in this explainer, we're going to get to the heart of what's really holding businesses back. We'll kick things off by looking at the technology itself, then we'll dive into the challenges inside a company, and finally, we'll look at the pressures from the outside world. And we're going to wrap it all up with the key questions you need to ask to figure out if you're truly ready to make the leap into AI. All right, first up, let's really dig into this gap, this disconnect between the incredible promise of AI and the tough day-to-day reality for so many small and medium-sized businesses. I mean, if AI is so powerful, why isn't every single business using it? Well, research from places like the European Parliament shows that small and medium enterprises are often in a, quote, unfavorable position to adopt these new technologies. So what's the deal? Why the disconnect? Let's break down the hurdles that businesses are actually facing. To get our heads around this, we're going to use a super simple but really powerful tool, the Technology Organization Environment Framework. Basically, it just helps us break down all the potential barriers into 3 neat categories so we can see exactly what's holding companies back. Okay, let's dive right into that first bucket, the technology itself. When we say AI, what are we really talking about in a way that actually matters for a business? So the first thing to get straight is that the AI we're talking about for business isn't the stuff of science fiction. We're not talking about Skynet here. It's what experts call narrow AI. These are highly specialized systems that are designed to do one specific thing really, really well. And don't let the word narrow fool you. This kind of AI can have a huge impact. So what does that look like in the real world? Well, think of it this way. Machine learning can dig through all your sales data to find your most profitable customers. Natural language processing, or NLP, that's the magic behind those helpful chatbots on websites. And robotic process automation, or RPA, that can take over all those mind-numbing digital tasks, like copying data from an email into a spreadsheet, freeing up your team to do much more important stuff. But, and this is a big but, here's where the problems kick in. A lot of businesses are running on older systems that just can't talk to modern AI tools. And even if they can, their data is often a complete mess. Get this, one company in the research found that 50 to 60% of their entire AI project was just cleaning up and reorganizing the data they already had. And honestly, for a lot of people, the sheer complexity of it all can be totally overwhelming. Okay, on to the next barrier, which, let's be honest, is often the biggest one of all, the organization itself. This isn't about the software, it's about the people, the daily grind, and the company culture. This quote from a production manager, wow, it just hits so close to home, right? It perfectly describes that feeling of firefighting. You know, you're so busy dealing with the urgent problems of today that there is zero time or brain power left to think about the important innovations for tomorrow. You're just stuck doing the same thing over and over, just trying to do it a little bit faster. And this really gets to the core paradox of being a small business. On one hand, you've got these incredible strengths. You can move fast, you're flexible, you can make decisions on the fly. But the flip side of that coin is that you often lack formal systems. You don't have deep pockets, you might not have specialized skills in-house, and there's often no concrete long-term plan. So this creates a pretty specific set of roadblocks inside the company. Money's tight, time is even tighter, because that daily firefighting always wins. There's often a huge knowledge gap. People just don't understand what AI is. which leads to skepticism. And sometimes you're just going to face resistance from longtime employees who are perfectly comfortable with the way things have always been done.
All right, let's look at our final category, the environment. These are all the challenges and pressures that exist outside your company's walls, but can still stop an AI project dead in its tracks. This quote from a managing director just captures the problem perfectly. Most small businesses know they need outside help for something like AI, but the market out there, it's a jungle of vendors and consultants. How in the world do you know who's legit? How can you tell who's actually good versus who just has a slick sales pitch? It's tough.
And that really shines a light on some major external barriers. We just talked about how hard it is to find the right partners. But what if your own customers aren't ready for the new tech? One company in the study actually found their clients were so uncomfortable with a new system that they had to go back to a process that was 10 years old. And on top of all that, you've got this complex web of regulations like GDPR, which just adds another layer of headaches, especially when you're dealing with customer data. So, after looking at all these barriers, the technology, the organization, the environment, what are the biggest takeaways here? What are the most common, most critical hurdles that businesses seem to face over and over again?
So, what's the bottom line? When the researchers sifted through all the interviews and data, 4 barriers just kept popping up, again and again, in every single company. Number 1, competing priorities. That daily grind just smothers any long-term strategic projects. 2, a basic lack of understanding of what AI is and what it can do. 3, money worries, or at least the perception that AI is way too expensive to even think about. And number 4, being totally dependent on outside help and at the same time having no idea how to find someone you can actually trust. These 4 barriers, they're the big ones. This is your starting line. So it really just leaves us with one final crucial question for you to think about for your own business. Looking at this list, what's the one barrier you need to tackle first to start unlocking the incredible potential of AI?